Hello and welcome. Welcome to this week's episode, where we dive into the world of high-end HMOs. As traditional investments methods face increasing uncertainty, these properties stand out as a beacon of profitability and security. And today we discuss why high-end HMOs are not just a trend, but a reliable way to your investment success. Last week, actually, over the last 2 weeks, I had 11 meetings with investors, and each one of them had face different challenges in terms of where to invest money, what to do with it, and how to invest money. And this is exactly the topic of today's podcast: where and how to invest money to succeed. A lot of these investors, and developers, I shall say, they put their money into single lets, into commercial to residentials, and develop the properties. And all of these schemes are good if you know what you're doing. And but there was a trend that emerged during all of these conversation, and this was regarding HMOs. Each one of them, they know that I'm doing high-end HMOs, and they were asking me how I'm doing, how we getting on with our return on investment, and that sparked my latest LinkedIn article about the HMOs. I'll put the link below the video to this article so you can watch and get to know how you can maximize your return on high-end HMOs and what makes them great. But in recent times, very uncertain investment opportunities is the buy-to-lets. As you might heard, the Labour government is proposing the almost like the locking you down as a landlord. So if you buy a buy-to-let property and you rent it out to your tenant, you are unable to gain the property back within the first 2 years of this tenancy. And this is the latest news. I got it from another channel. Shout out to Ranjan. So thanks for sharing, buddy. I thought this is really, really good information. So I thought I'm going to share it here with you. But the common challenges and problems and solutions. So unstable return of investment. And if you've got the simple buy-to-let property, you are getting, you're maybe getting on average 4, 5, maybe 6% return on your money. But as this years show us, it is more expensive to convert the properties. The properties are, I've seen the tendency that the property prices are actually coming down a little bit. And securing the property at the low cost is definitely a key. Simon Zucchi says, so you have to buy property below market value. It is... as it sounds, it may not be below the market value. You may just buy the property right, and you know what to do and how to add the value to the property, which you always should buy. Buy the property to add value in high area demand. But going back to the topic is unstable returns of your investment. If you've got a buy to let, you may have to spend 30, 50, 60, 80,000 to convert the property, depending what's the state of the property you're buying. And the more work your property needs, the better return on that investment you may have, as you may be able to get a better deal on securing that property. But the topic of today is investing in high-end HMOs, and the reason is, why would you want to invest in high-end HMOs? In my article, I wrote about what are the benefits of investing, and the three main ones is the higher rental yields. You'll get on average, 8 to 12, depending where you are in the UK. But this is what we've seen. You can get even higher. So in the areas like London and Bristol, you might be able to hire returns on your investment, but and capital appreciation. So your property you are creating, if you're aiming for 6 and above bedrooms, this is so up to 6 bedrooms is classified as C4, small HMOs, up to 6 people. But if you're going above six people, so 7 and more, that goes into a different class use, and this is now sui generis. You will be able to get a commercial valuation on sui generis, as that's the commercial class use. But you also might be available to get commercial valuation on your 6 bedroom HMOs. This is what we did recently, and we got commercial valuation. So the higher capital appreciation on those properties is helping you to secure your secure your financial investment and return. But you have to know what you're doing. As when I spoke to very clever people, they said that when you convert in a property, it's still brick and mortar within the envelope. And let's just say you buy in a property for about 270,000, which the average value of that property on that particular street will be about 300,000. So you are buying it below the market value because you need to spend money to bring it up to that value. That's what you should look at. And when you do, this is what we did recently. And we've actually bought the property for 290,000. And the same property on the street just next door, it was 330,000. So, but we converted the property, we invested 120,000 into it, and the commercial valuation of GDV came at 560,000. So it is a capital appreciation that you want to make sure that when you do your investments, you definitely do a high end. So when it comes to revaluation, you can demonstrate that your property is not just as a normal brick and mortar or 3 bedroom house. It's now it's now more of a commercial aspect of that property. Although it's a still 6 bedroom, it's a beautiful property, and we were able to secure that capital, that valuation of 560. On this project, you have to remember what risk bank is taking. So when banks lending you money, they need to be able to secure that investment against the risk. So if they lending you money on just a 3 bedroom house, if you're going to buy a 3 bedroom house and you convert a dining room into a bedroom, a living room into a bedroom, and all of a sudden you now have a 4, maybe 5 bedroom HMO, you're not actually gaining that much value because you've just converted the already available space to you. So the bank will treat this just as a normal 3 bedroom house, and there is no uplift in actual valuation value of your property. So on that note, you need to know what you're doing and how to secure investment in order to get that commercial valuation at the other end. Unless you're prepared to leave a big chunk of your money in your property investment. But that's not what we do. We focus on going in, convert the property within 12 months, get as much money out as we can. We used to be able to do no money down deal, or no money left in a deal. But currently, with the cost of money and cost of materials and refurbishment, that's no longer possible. And if someone's out there, and there is a person out there who's actually doing these deals, but that's maybe on another day. Lee Blake, man, guy, you're absolutely smashing it, and this is totally separate subject which we need to cover on this podcast, as it is amazing in an entirety. But it is very difficult to do in the current times. No money left in a deal unless you buying from motivated sellers, and that's the key. You should always focus on buying from motivated sellers. And let's challenge that mindset, as some people will say, oh well, you are just using the opportunity where people are needing to sell the property at discount. But that's exactly what it is. They need to sell quickly, and they will be prepared to take that discount. Let's give you an example. When you are in a very toxic relationship and this marriage has already failed years ago, but you're still sharing the same house, I'm sure you both of you will be motivated at certain point in time to just go separate ways, and and you don't want to spend any more time going through legals and put the property on the market, wait for 3, maybe 6 months, or maybe even longer, only for it to fail. You want certain security. When you put the property on the market, you want to just go get it gone. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we will step in as an investor and help these people. It's a win-win scenario. We get a property to work on, and they'll get the money so they can move on with their lives. You always should look for win-win scenarios. But going back to the topic of today, investing money and where and how. In my opinion, you should consider investing in high-end HMOs, as they are almost the top of the return, investment returns on the property markets strategies. There might be alongside with service accommodation, as a service accommodation could yield very similar returns on an annual basis. But service accommodation, if it's not done right, it could only be seasonal. So in high seasons, you're going to earn, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12,000 pounds a month. But in the low seasons of winters, you might get, fraction of it, 2, 3,000 pound a month. So that's a huge difference. But as I said, if you know how to do it, I've got friends and they know what they're doing in service accommodation, and they know who is your ideal tenant or client, shall I say, to secure steady income in return across the all of the seasons. And these are your contractors, your trades. So that's what you should look into it if you are in a say business, attracting more of a commercial clients that secure your property for weeks and months in advance, just to make sure you're going to get that. But SA is not for everyone. That's why I've decided to focus on HMOs, as HMOs might be easier. And yes, it is easier to manage than service accommodation. Service accommodation requires a lot of time. It requires you to manage cleaning services, linen, everything. And it's very, very time consuming. So either you have a lot of time on your hands, or just hand it over to a company that does it for you, which could be a solution if you've got the right property and the right people. And well, on that note, if you want to get involved and get to know the right people, we are creating an online only community for meetings and for networking. We're still working. We're still in the phase 1 of creating this community. I'll post the link of how you can find out more about this. It is exciting what we are going to do, and I can't wait. We've already got people sign up to for updates, and the new updates will be coming in the next 2 weeks. So if you want to do that, just comment below, and we will get back to you. And going back to today's problem and where to invest money and how. In my opinion, you should invest money in high demand areas, which is a common sense, but sometimes we forget about this. When we are on search, shall I say, when the focus is on finding the property and you're going wider, broader, and you widen your area, and it's really easy to become a motivated buyer because, oh, this is amazing, but is it still the high demand area? So you need to know your numbers, you need to know what you're doing. And securing a property, it is crucial that the property you are buying, it needs some work. So you can just add the value. Whether you're working with your own money or if you're working with investors' money, you should always find out and understand what is at the other end of your deal. So when you convert the property, when you refurbish, what is your GDV? And once you understand that, you know exactly how much money you can expect at the refinance point when you finish all your refurbishment. But this is key number one. But let's go back to the challenges of the unstable returns on this investment. So high-end HMOs will offer you higher yields in compared to a standard buy-to-let property, as you are attracting better quality tenants and they respect your property. Let me give you an example. So on this occasion, we had a quite windy weather in Bristol last 2 weeks, and the wind has blown over the rubbish and everything. And the tenants have actually come out and clean the front driveway and all of that. And this is amazing. So that's what I'm saying. Once you convert the property into a beautiful home, everyone will appreciate, and even your tenants, your clients, however you call them, they would appreciate what you have done and they would want to care for your property. Well, that's exactly what happened in our case. So we had tenants who came out and actually cleaned the rubbish that was blown away by the wind. It's a small example, but it goes to show that if you put care into your property, your product, the people will look after it. And if you attract the right tenants, they obviously would want to live in a nice property, and they just don't want to let it to overgrown and look bad. It's their home for however long they're going to live there. That's where they live, and that's what they call home now. A lot of questions I had from these meetings with investors were, well, how busy and how difficult and noisy it's the HMO investments. And you may think about student investments, lots of problems, leaking taps, blocked toilets, and tripping electrics, and so on, because all of a sudden the property that you have been designed for a small family of 4 now is being used by 6 people constantly. As a family of 4, the parents will go to work, will have a shower, then another shower in the evening, kids as well, cooking one dinner, as opposed to now 6 people will definitely have showers in the morning, afternoon, and maybe in the evening. 6 people will cook, and we need to heat the house, so everything is used more. And this is the key when you are refurbishing these properties. You need to put some thinking into what you're doing. You may use one of the 2 approaches. So the approach number 1 is, let's buy a property and just repaint, redecorate, a very light budget on it, and hope for the best, that we will not have to do any major fixes, any major work to the property, or nothing's gonna fail in the next couple of years because the budget is quite low and restricted. That's one approach. The second approach is where you go in and spending high budget up front, and you going almost back to bricks or back to bricks, upgrading, making sure the electrics are sound, making sure all of your water, sewerage, the intake will deal with the demand, your pipes, it's all being at the design stage of your property. And you're essentially designing even the heating, even the hot water, all of it. That's all in mind to start with. So let's go back to the scenario number 1. Let's say, for example, you got 5 or 6 people sharing the same or 2 toilets, because it should be 2 toilets at least. And you've got these people, using the services, and one of these showers or whatever, it will work really, really hard, and heating, electricity, all of that. If it's not been thought through and designed that way, you will run into problems, and you will run into blockage, blocked toilets, because it hasn't been designed to deal with with a high usage approach. And if you're going back to bricks, back to bricks refurbishment, so that's the second scenario, and you spend money, you're obviously taking into account everything will be used much more often, and your heating. So I run an electrical business, and I do not install electrical showers in my HMOs. I don't think they're good. I don't think you can really enjoy that shower. The pressure is never there. The water, if it's hot, you just almost like have to like put the shower head above your head to wash yourself. So I don't like them, and I don't put them in my investment properties, because I think they're absolutely awful, and they do break. They don't last very, very long. If they last more than a year, I think you're definitely, that's good for you. Heating, en suites. If you're installing en suites and you are just counting on the cheapest way to put them in, and you might need to put like those macerators. So it's like a blending all of your waste and push it through a small pipe, because location where you could only put that ensuite, it's not allowing you to use a conventional method of waste pipe, which that's what you need to take into account when you're buying a property. Can I actually do what I want to do for this? Will it actually work? So that's all at the design stage you have to take into account. And these toilets with these macerators, pump system, they break very often. And if you're an investor out there watching this and you know what I'm on about, just give us a like, because I know what you've been going through, and I know how difficult it is. It's just when you are self-managing the properties, and you are somewhere, with your family on the trip, only to get a notification on your system that, your toilet is blocked. And you know exactly what this is, because you fixed this last month. And despite the fact you tell people not to put tissues in their toilet, they end up doing it anyway. So knowing how to convert the property, what to do with it, and how to design. It's a design stage, design-led properties refurbishment. That's what you should focus on. And that's not that's not the only aspect you should take into account. Is who is going to manage your properties as well. So if you self-manage, there's a great tools out there. We currently use a Coho management system, and we've got the VA who monitors all the communication, all the compliance, making sure that everything is on time, that we can access, that the tenants can access all of the documents. They manage all the new tenants onboarding, and that's been huge for our business, because as you know, the tenants come and go, and the headache for a property investor is managing the whole onboarding, the whole previewing process, the viewing process, the documents, the gathering data, the reference check, all of that. This could be a really time-consuming, and it could be a landlord's nightmare. But if you know how to put this right, and if you know how to structure it, then you don't do it. You're only verifying. There is a system, and you log into your system, and you can see, oh, we're going through onboarding. Oh, we've got 6 tenants who wants to rent this room, and we put them through the references, and now we know which one's the best. We go through the who they are, because we want to attract people, the right type of people, to create communities in our HMOs, in our properties, and that's what we do. So we're using systems in place to help us make our life easier and make our investments and experience for the tenants easier, so everyone's enjoying it. So systems very important. Systems where you buy property, consider converting this to a high-end HMO rather than buy-to-let, in my opinion, you should definitely think about, second scenario in terms of the investment. So buy the property, convert everything, refurbish, go back to bricks if you have to. Think about at the design stage before you complete the project to make sure that it can serve you for the next years. And another very important fact when investing in properties: should I invest up north or down south? And as everyone knows, or maybe you don't, if you go up north, you can stretch your money a little bit further than down south. Obviously, the properties down south are more expensive than the properties up in north. But is it? And now, from the business perspective, when you buy a property, if you use a scenario number 2, then you are actually more protected. But let me give you that option. So we buy the properties in south because they are more expensive. No, because we can attract higher rental yields if we do the right product or the right HMO, the high-end HMO. But if you were to do the same, even higher up north, you will never be able to attract higher rents as you are able to do it down south. And the risk only comes in when you're using scenario number 1. You'd only do the light refurb. And what happens if you are only attracting 450, 550 a month, from the bedrooms, and your boiler goes down because you just left the old boiler hoping for the best? And if the boiler breaks down, that surely is going to wipe off next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, because you have to pay the mortgage, the bills, everything, plus the cost of replacing your boiler. If you haven't if you haven't accrued any maintenance budget, then obviously that goes out of your pocket, and you're really screwed for the next 6 months. But if you're down the south and you do high-end HMOs and you're able to get 850, 900 per room, and you've got 6 of those, it will only cost you 2 months of your rents, including taking away the bills. So it's maybe 2, maybe 3 months top, to reaccrue the costs of replacing boiler or anything else in that matter. Anything else in your property, whether this is down south or up in the north, is going to cost you similarly. It will be the same cost for the boiler. It may cost a little bit cheaper to install it or replace it up north than down south because the wages are higher in south, but still the cost is in thousands. And if your profits are not in thousands, then just ask yourself next time when you buy the property, which scenario are you going to apply? Just put some liquid paint and some secondhand furniture that you were able to buy from Facebook, or you're actually going to thought this through at the design stage and have it properly map out. What you're doing, how much it will cost you, and what you're going to get out of it on the end of that investment. If you struggle to get all of those facts together, reach out. We are happy to look over your deal, and we can only advise you. We can only share our expertise and our experience, what we have, and you can join our networking events and get to know more people who are the experts and been doing this for 20, 30, and 40 years in some cases. Thank you for listening. So let's see if you may have any questions. Hey, good morning. Yes, you, Mariusz, good morning to you. Yeah, absolutely. You can contact me. More than happy to help. Absolutely. I can only share with my experience what I know, and I'm more than happy to do this. So please do contact. And what else I wanted to share with you today? So yeah, Labour government. I'm not political, by the way, not at all. But let's just think about they've pledged to build 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years. That's about 300,000 homes a year. None of the government were able to achieve that over I don't know how many years, but there was a stats. So forgive me, but it must be like 10, 15 years and more. They've not been able to achieve these numbers, or even more. So why would they commit to such a high number if if this hasn't been achievable for that many years, and they're not making this easy for us private investors and developers to help. They haven't really incentivized, the investors to actually go out and do this, make this happen. But we still do. We still do, despite the fact they want us to buy the property, spend the money to, invest and bring it up to, to actually usable standards. So any defunct properties, they want us to, we want to buy them and put them back on the market. So even if you decide that something bad happened in your life in the next 2 years after you bought this property, you refurbish, refinance, and you need the money, you're unable to actually get your tenant out because you want to sell the property. That is nuts. But that's my opinion as well. Abolishing, Section 21 eviction, so no fault eviction. So you you cannot kick the tenants for a number of months, even if they are not paying, and if you even if you go and ask council to help you, well, they can't just tell you, they can't advise your tenants to to get on the street, and they actually, if your tenants will go to a council and say, oh, we don't have the money to pay the rent, they'll be like, well, we don't have any properties at the moment for you, so your best um, your best approach is actually to stay in your landlord's house, because they can't really legally kick you out. It's a loop in circle. You really need to know what you're doing, and this is the good one. So yeah, the extension of AVAB's law, so for private rental, and this is where the standard, so addresses the standard of living conditions, particularly issues to like mold. So if the property is very unhealthy, not very well ventilated, not very well insulated as well, with really poor heating that just exaggerate all this mold growth, this is exactly usually the scenario number one. When someone buys the property, don't know what they're doing, they're really gonna mess this up, and they just run into so many problems because you will not be able to attract the right tenants and high-paying tenants. You will not be, you'll run into an issues with your property most likely in the next, few years of running the property. You will run into an issues like, uneven heating for all the properties, because some of the rooms haven't really been designed to have a bed, wardrobe, something else, because the placement of the radiator is not sufficient, or is wrong, is underrated, or you will have a cold spots. So you really know what you're doing before you go and do it. So ask for advice. There is lots of people out there who will be able to help you, and well, I'm here, willing to help. And energy efficiency, well, this is I have my own opinion about that, and I know I know great people who actually go out there and order the properties for EPC, and even their feedback is, we are using, so let's just go back to the beginning. EPC, whew, they're using a tool that has been designed 10, 20 years ago to analyze efficiency, performance of your property. So this is how efficient the heating, the energy cost of your property is. But if the document, the tool that they're using is 20, or it's old, it's irrelevant to current technology available on the market that is not being recognized by this tool, by this system, it is not making sense. And it's not really easy for these guys out there to mark your property and give you high energy rating. Because, for example, if you have the latest infrared heating film installed in your ceilings, which evenly distribute the heat across across your property, getting rid of all of those cold spots and growth of mold, so they really helping. None of that is recognized by EPC, and even though they actually is penalized even more, it's helping you to lower the cost of running of your property. It's helping keeping the property at the higher standards, but actually you get lower EPC because it's electrical. And although the EPC tool, the questionnaire, treat this as just electrical heating, which should cost you more, but the technology moved on and they don't recognize that. So, and this is the key as well. Before you convert your property, consult someone of your heating. What's the best heating for your property? What should you do to ensure that you can get a highest EPC rating? Because there are just a few clever tactics that you can do to maximize the opportunity of efficiency. The keeping the cost down for your investment if you paying the bills, like in the SA or HMO markets. Because if it's buy to let, the tenant will cover the bills. But you definitely don't want the property to be ruined after 5 years of family using the property, and the property will just get grown over with mold. So keep that in mind. I was supposed to keeping my podcast to 10, 15, 20 minutes top. So I kept you very long today. Thank you for watching. Please give us likes and hearts, and we are going to be moving this channel to podcast, to Apple Podcast, and to Spotify. I am just getting some help with doing it. I will admit to you, it's been fun starting this, but I'm starting to actually like sharing what I do and invite guests onto a podcast. And what we are planning to do in the next months to come, it is great. I can't wait. I'm super excited about that. So thank you so much. And Kinga, yes, there's a comment. I agree. We invest and live in South. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So thank you so much for joining me today, this Sunday morning. I'd like your comments, please. If you think the Sunday morning it is the best time, for you to join this podcast, I will ask these questions a number of times, because I am currently just working out with maybe different timings, and I'm really open to your comments. Once again, I just want to say thank you for tuning in this morning with me for my podcast. Stay tuned for next week. We are going to talk about something that is helping you to become a better investor, a better entrepreneur. It's helping you to just make this a little bit easier for your daily routine. And that's all we're doing. We do not aim to change your life just like that. We only aim to help you be 1% better. That's all there is. You only need to be 1% better every time you're working on you or your project. Take care. Have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday and enjoy the weather. Bye-bye.